It's okay. I'll tell you later.
Well, Josh is telling us we're not allowed to talk to each other anymore because we got a fucking podcast now. So, welcome to Jenkins and Jones on the Volume Podcast Network. It's Tuesday, February 4th, and we are going to be joined by two, not one, but two special guests today, Claire Lune and Jason Gallagher, to talk about the Luka Doncic madness, as well as everything else. As always, Jenkins and Jones, hosted by Dragonfly Jones, aka Tyler.
Hey everybody, have a good.
John is not with us today because I'm John. I have to go to New Orleans, the coolest city on earth, for the Super
John's
Bowl.
he's going to New Orleans. This is not. I didn't hear about this shit. Did I miss this in the group chat?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it
well,
was
damn.
while you were on the Greyhound trying to avoid being shivved.
Oh, so he's going to the. Okay.
He's
Well, good
not.
for him.
He's actually not going to the Super Bowl, right, Jackson? He's recording in New
He
Orleans.
flew there yesterday. He's like working all day today on whatever he's working on, and he's flying back tomorrow morning. He was like, I'm trying to get in, do the work, and get out, but I will be out of commission all of Monday and Tuesday, is what he said.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The Jethro Jenkins. I'm Cardi B, aka Mike.
Motherfucker, Mike. Anytime you can get a trip to NO, you got to take it though.
Hell yeah.
Honest, man.
When my brother told me him and his wife were doing a destination wedding, I was like, really? Like, like we really doing this? And he was like, we're going to New Orleans. And I was like, great idea.
Hell yeah.
We're produced as always by the equally talented and lovely Josh Rodriguez and Jackson Saffon.
What's up?
What up?
And we're joined first by our good buddy, maybe most frequent, might be closing in on most frequent Jenkins and Jones guest, Claire Lune of The Guardian. Claire, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's cool to be back. It's cool to be back when, the craziest trade in NBA history has occurred. And it just so happens to be for my hometown, Los Angeles Lakers. So,
Is there something to I've got a couple of theories. I think one we'll talk with Jason about later, but I would, is there something to like a genuine deal with the devil that like Jerry Buss signed in perpetuity? Like 3 years since 1948 that the Lakers don't have a first ballot Hall of Famer as the core of the franchise. Like, how does this keep happening to the Lakers?
it's literally like if that meme, like they can't keep getting away with this, like was a basketball team. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could have some of their mojo voodoo deal with the devil sauce, whatever it is, because I could use some of this luck that they have in my life. I think a lot of it does feel like quite lucky, not like front office savantness, just sort of like, hey, do you want Luka Doncic? Like, what's the catch? There isn't really one. We just want AD. All right. Sick. Thanks, bro. Like, wow.
Yeah, Tyler, Claire, either one of you, like we're a couple of days away from it now. How are you telling this story in your head? Like, is this a basketball decision? Is it collusion? Is it witchcraft? Like, what happened here?
I mean, I think with the more of the details that we're getting, it is unprecedented in NBA trade history, but it's the same story that we have seen so many times in the workplace over and over again, where new management comes in and feels like they have to shake shit up, and they just do the dumbest fucking thing, right? Like, this is something that we've all witnessed on our jobs, and we're not professional basketball players. We're not NBA front office people. Like, all the details that we're hearing, it's like Nico had it out for this dude from the moment he took the reins there. Like, we got the scoop on how he how Nico got rid of, his strength trainers, his nutritionists, all Slovenians, like his homies, you know what I mean? And got rid of them. And we had that quote where Luke was like, everyone who I like, they get rid of. And then we saw Luka in the presser today where he was like, yeah, I knew this day was probably coming. You know what I mean? Like, he knew that since Nico took over, that Nico had it out for him, and it looks like Nico finally, fulfilled the prophecy that he wanted to when he came in, that he was never a Luka guy, which I just do not understand how you're just not all in on Luka. Like I said, conditioning, whatever. I don't give a shit about any of that. That tubby motherfucker can hoop. He took y'all to the finals. Who gives a shit? Y'all can work that shit out. You do not throw away a top 5 25-year-old over some shit like that, bro. But it's just, I think the story is just gonna be Nico Harrison's just his ineptitude, just him just thinking that this is the way that he puts his stamp on his reign there, and it's just one of the worst, perhaps the worst trade in NBA history, dog.
Yeah, I mean, I think the other thing we learned from the press con well, not learned, but I think, got confirmation of in the press conference is Luka was asked a question about like the rumor going around that he had indicated or hinted that he might not be willing to sign that Supermax extension and that he was looking to get out of Dallas. And he started shaking his head the second the reporter started asking the question, and he was just like, absolutely not true at all. So like we got confirmation that any sort of benefit of the doubt that had been given to the front office, that there was a possibility that they were under the impression even that Luka would maybe want to leave, was, like patently denied today by Luka. He was like, no, like I thought I was going to play there forever, and I plan to retire there. So yeah, it's not really excusable. I mean, to me, I'm coming at it from an interesting angle because I think way higher on Anthony Davis than most people. Like I've watched him day in, day out, been in the locker room with him, incredible locker room guy, one of the most versatile two-way players in the league, like one of the highest end two-way players in the league. I think he's incredible, and I understand why someone would want him. And I also understand why when you're gonna trade Luka Doncic and you don't want to do that for like picks and a rebuild, of the players who could possibly be available in the NBA who would be even close to replenishing what you're giving away, like Anthony Davis is a pretty good return in that regard, because I'm pretty high on him. But even I, someone who is a huge AD fan, big Max Christie fan, honestly, it's unconscionable to do a trade like this. Like there's no excusing it, there's no rationalizing it. The hubris to think that you're going to get a generational talent like this again in the draft is like unthinkable, really. I mean, like he's a once in a generation player. That's the facts. You're not going to get another Luka in the draft. It's just not going to happen. So, mathematically, it's so unlikely that you draft another Luka Doncic, and you had to get lucky on draft night. That's the part of this that is just so crazy too, is it's like you didn't even have the number one pick to get a talent like Luka. You had, I think, the third pick overall, and still ended up with him because of the ineptitude of other front offices who had to pass on him. Like you got lucky by orders of magnitude,
right,
to get this player.
That's what we said. We said on the last show, we said you won the lottery 3 times because you got the guy. The guy turned out to be one of the guys among guys, and then you also got a guy who seemed like he was happy to spend his whole career there, which is its own lottery that you have to win. Like we were talking about that Lakers string of players. 1948, 3 seasons without a first ballot guy as the center of the franchise. They only drafted one of those guys.
Yeah.
Like Magic was the only one that was just like, oh well, yeah, we got the we got a pick and we took the guy. Everyone else you have to like bully or luck your way into. Okay, let me ask you guys this: the more I hear about this trade, the more it feels like some Kobe Bryant Black Mamba sleeper cell shit. That like Nico and Rob are both part of Kobe's team. They're apparently the 3 of them very, very close friends. The Ramona Shelbourne's story was like they traveled the world together, developed this level of trust. We obviously know how much Kobe meant to Luka and how much Luka meant to Kobe. Luka talked about his only regret today is Kobe and Gigi not being there to see this happen. Is the simplest explanation not some sort of collusion that was like, hey, if you ever get a chance to send this fucker to the Lakers, you're going to do it? Like, it feels like the Occam's razor explanation to me is the conspiracy theory.
I don't think so, just because I think that's underestimating the ego that these front office guys have. Like, you would have to be essentially willing to knowingly mortgage your career, future reputation in the league to do a solid for a friend or for like a long-standing like agreement or whatever it is. I really think that the simplest answer is ineptitude. And I think that people just have such a hard time imagining that someone's ego could get in the way to this degree. Clearly he had beef with Luka. He didn't get along with Luka. He didn't like the way he, operated, whatever it is. So egos are a miracle as far as like what they can accomplish. And I think to me, the simplest answer is just that Nico had the hubris to think I can do better. And I will do better. And I think he's dead wrong. But I understand the conspiracy theories because it's really everyone trying to rationalize what is a seemingly totally irrational decision. But I think it's probably the simplest answer. I think he's just dead wrong, dude. Like, I
Tyler,
don't.
join me on page 47 of YouTube. Do you buy my conspiracy theory at all?
I mean, Nico had that quote where he was like, "The easiest thing I could have done was nothing." Right? Like this sounds like a dude who is just really full of himself. He knows that he's taking a risk, right? Like he's flat out admitted that, and I think that he's just. I don't know. He's big brain in this shit, bro. You don't trade
Yes.
Luka. You just don't trade Luka. It's that fucking simple.
So you guys think his brain was so warped by grind culture, basically?
I also
I
think that Wendy pointed this out on some show or pod or something, that Nico was very criticized for the Kyrie Irving move, and that turned out to be a gamble that was correct.
Yeah.
That's
That was
so not comparable, though.
Not at all.
I-
Not
I-
at all.
like-
No.
like, I
I'm not saying it's
understand
comparable.
Wendy pointing that
I'm not
out,
saying it's
but
comparable,
yeah,
and I don't think
yeah,
Wendy's saying it's comparable either. I'm saying that if you're Nico Harrison and your first big new boss shakeup move was something everyone was like, "You dumbass," and then it was correct, I can understand being like, what do these guys know? Why do I care? Not what do they know, but why do I care what these people think if I was fucking right?
He
Also,
actually
he's an
meant-
outsider. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say this is the reverse decision though. Kyrie is taking a chance on a disgruntled
disagree.
superstar, and Luka is not taking a chance on a gruntled superstar. You know what I mean? It's like he's fully gruntled. Like he
love
was
it.
not
Gruntled.
trying to.
Overly gruntled was the main
He's
concern.
too gruntled, perhaps.
Too
much
He's
gruntled.
overly gruntled. He had gruntles in his pockets.
But if you
taking Gruntles home on the way
He was
out,
taking gruntles home, right? He had too many gruntles.
this fucking GMI that the gruntle
gruntle
mass
mass-
index was fucking.
A gruntle sounds like some sort of like old timey like utility that you would use. Like, oh, like I need to measure this. Let me go grab my gruntle.
Sounds like some Slovenian shit. You know, it's like, oh, they don't got Pilates over there. They
Gruntle?
got gruntles. Yeah. If you're looking for some reason, I mean, I know everyone's just going to continue to detest the Lakers, and obviously I'm enjoying that to some extent. If you're looking for a reason why the Lakers do end up in this situation, compare the story Tyler was telling that Lucas said they fire everybody that I like. They fired his Slovenian trainer, these people that were around him. Luka then goes and hires his own team and says, I'm going to do this myself then. I'll spend the money on my own stuff. There was back and forth, it sounded like a lot of negative stuff between Nico and Luka's team he puts around him. Did y'all hear what Rob Pelinka did at the introductory press conference today? We just really want to commend the job that Luka's training staff around him has done. You know, starts mentioning him by name. The Lakers have understood, because of the way that their franchise was built in the modern era with the Showtime Lakers, this is a stars league. I don't give a fuck about whatever else you're talking about. LeBron, are they talking shit about your entourage? Come on out here. Oh, Kawhi, the Spurs are trying to rush you back from injury. The Lakers take care of our stars. We wasted 2 whole years to give Kobe Bryant the ride off into the sunset that the Lakers felt like he deserved. They are always, as a franchise, going to put the star first, make the star feel welcome. And you can say whatever you want about, you know, grind culture, Nico, like whatever else, but you can't win without those players. And the Lakers have understood that, I think, better than any other franchise in the NBA.
For sure. And I think it kind of reminds me, so, you know, it would be like the analogy I would use is if like a normie guy is just dating a supermodel. Somehow it works out for him. And he's like, Nico Harrison is the normie guy. And he's like, man, this girl's really high maintenance. Like she needs a lot of attention. She wants me to like send her flowers all the time. The Lakers come in, you know, whatever, Leonardo DiCaprio just dated supermodel after supermodel. I was like, bro, no problem. I've got 1-800-Flowers on speed dial. Like I have a membership card at Sephora. Like I got you. Like whatever high maintenance like shit you're saying you have to deal with.
I'm used to
like,
random people hitting on my girlfriend. It does
I
not
have
bother
no
me at
problem.
all.
I
I'm
am
not gonna
secure
get
in my
jealous.
masculinity. Yeah, exactly. Like the Lakers are in the superstar business, as you said, and whatever, you know, concerns the Mavs had about, because it sounds like Luka, you know, was difficult in a lot of ways. Like he has been a famous celebrity basketball player since he was a child. Essentially, he was a professional, and you know, winning the equivalent of like MVP of EuroLeague at I think 17 or 18. So, I mean, I'm sure has child star tendencies in some ways and is not low maintenance, but the Lakers are not scared of that and they welcome that. So I think he ultimately probably ended up at the right place for a star like himself, where he can kind of
The
be
Lakers are
the
not
most
worried
high
about you
profile,
being difficult, right? I mean, it's like, you know,
or just like
if
being a superstar. Like they can handle it. You know, they have the infrastructure to handle the heights of fame and everything that come with that. Um, and to your point, like they cater to huge stars. That's what they want. That's part of their brand identity. They're not about like the hard-nosed hard. They're not the Memphis Grizzlies. You know what I mean? They don't aspire to be, I don't think particularly. So,
we are spotlights, not streetlights. You know, I mean,
yeah,
that's
they're
like
the opposite of that Clippers marketing plan. Yeah, for sure. I'm still mourning the loss of the Lakers that got traded in this. I'm like the one person on earth who's like, man, I'm really gonna freaking miss Anthony Davis and Max Christie.
you're not. My best friend is also a huge Lakers fan, is like immediately was just like, I can't believe we're losing AD. And I just have been like, it's not even a question
No,
of
you
if
do
you
the
get the
trade
chance to acquire someone like Luka, you just do it, right?
a
But
hundred times out
no,
of a hundred.
I'm with you, and I really liked this year's Lakers team. I've enjoyed
That's the
watching them more this
thing.
year than I have. Yeah.
They were okay. So my thing was I'm simultaneously like obviously excited for the future, especially like as, you know, a journalist living in Los Angeles, like the Lakers were going to be really bleak, I think, very soon after the LeBron era. So I'm excited to kind of circumvent that and just go straight into the next star era. That being said, like this team was finally, I think they'd won like 8 out of the last 9 games or something. Like they were finally starting to get it together. That Knicks win was the best win of the season. That happened just a couple hours before the trade. I'm sorry, Josh, who's also on the call. I apologize.
Can I just
To bring that
briefly
up.
interject that Josh looks like a meme of like the, you know, like the memes where it's like the guy's face just gets crossed out with pencil and he's just like so depressed. Josh is just like, yeah, big free agency signings. Definitely aware of those
Sick,
as a Knicks
bro.
fan.
But yeah, they were kind of on a really, they had developed a very clear identity that is the exact opposite of what they now have given the roster. And which is like this kind of defensive minded, like more like those kind of like hard nosed, you know, hardworking defensive teams. They were gelling. They had kind of figured it out. Were having, I don't know, like things were just clicking, and I was really excited to kind of see what that could look like with a couple of small tweaks. I'm not saying the trade was a mistake. I think it was, to your point, one of the most successful front office moves in NBA history. Like it's an insane coup to get Luka Doncic at 25, and there's no universe where you say no, no matter what they ask for. They could have asked for way more than they got, and they would have had to say yes, which is why part of what makes it such a bad move on Dallas's behalf is you think that would have been the sticking point if they had said, okay, no, one more, you know, first round pick and Dalton connect. That you think the Lakers would be like, no, you can keep Luka Doncic. We're actually all set. Like, no, there's no
Like
way.
the Lakers
So
come out of this with a first round pick still.
I know how. Like what? What? I, like the Dallas Mavericks gave up a second round pick in this deal somehow. They gave up a pick in addition to Luka Doncic.
Can I just also ask both of you, and Tyler, I know you're not like a diehard Lakers fan. You know, this is a relationship of convenience for you, but like, how much are we all enjoying Danny Ainge getting
Oh my
suckered into
God.
helping the Lakers out?
It's the best
He
part.
said he didn't even know that he was, you know, part of a Luka trade until like 30 minutes before it happened. But that's what your thirsty ass get. What the fuck you hopping into trades half blind, just thirsty as hell? God damn, he can't help himself, man. That's what you fucking get, bro.
He's like Pepe Le Pew with the smell of a second round pick, like just being carried along this, you know, to the pie on the windowsill.
I'm like
It's
picturing.
also a funny like behind the curtain a little bit of how trades work. Like someone called
Yeah.
him was just like, "Hey, do you want Jalen Hood Schifino in a couple seconds? You don't really have to do much." And he's just like, "No, no other questions." Like, "Yes, please." Like what an interesting. Like that has to happen. Someone has to make that phone call. It's
I would
kinda
be
crazy.
curious. I would ask a follow-up question if I
Yeah,
personally.
I'd be like, oh, cool. Like, what else is involved? And he was just like, I'll take it. Which, like, if you don't got to give up anything, like, sure, but it's kind of strange.
But you know, he's punching his pillow when he goes home.
No, that's what I'm
Like-
saying. Imagine Danny Ainge getting the Shams notification that we all got
Right.
and being like, I was involved in what?
I would have given you Lowry Markkinen and 8 first-round picks for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
Luka would
so
have done
wild.
numbers in Utah. I mean, you know, that's a Danny Ainge type of a dude too. Although
Luka did numbers in Dallas, Texas. It's
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas. It's the second most racist place after Utah. Like, what are you talking about? I just, I
Oh,
can't.
shit.
I truly can't fathom it. Poor AD. I mean, I hope I've seen a lot of comments of Dallas fans being like, we know it's not your fault, dude. We're excited to have you. I've already seen like my friend Master, I saw him on Twitter today, already talking himself into why they have a better chance to win the championship this year than they did last week.
We're giving Master some space. Master's a good friend of
Space.
ours.
Yeah.
We're holding space for Master and his grief. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, I get it that I can only hope that the Dallas fans will try and as much as they can separate the talent that is Anthony Davis and what he brings to the table from the immense generational pain they've accumulated over the last week. But I just feel really bad for him because I don't think they'll ever be able to separate those two things. He will always be what they got back in the trade for Luka Doncic. That should have never happened. Like that is a stain on his legacy now, and it's not his fault at all. And if anything, he got just as fucked as Luka did in this whole thing. Like he thought he just bought a house in LA. His wife just had a baby. Like
Right.
he was settling into life in Los Angeles. He just got evacuated a few weeks ago in the fires. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for AD too, but like at least for Luka, the fans are like, man, we'll really miss AD, but holy crap, how do we pull that off? You're Luka Doncic. Like, whereas in Dallas, it's like, I get that you're a really good player, but you're what we got as a consolation prize for what is being regarded as the worst trade in NBA history, the most lopsided trade, you know? So I really feel for him because I just want him to be celebrated. He's so underrated in my estimation, and he has played his best years of his career in the shadow of who I think is the greatest player of all time. So I just hope that at some point in his career before he retires, he's able to be like truly appreciated for the special talent he is.
The one thing I would say though, from LeBron's perspective, is there is no doubt we have 3 or 4 years in a row where they talked about how much LeBron worked with AD on taking more of a leadership role.
Yeah.
And that felt like that was incremental progress, not it's your team. And so you also understand from the Lakers' perspective why they don't feel like if you go Kobe, Shaq, to Bron, they don't feel like AD is the next link in that chain. And you can understand that a little bit. And I think that's his personality, and it makes sense for him to not try and go against his personality. But Luka is more in that mode of, I like that they're going to butt heads a little bit about, are we on Bron's timeline or Luka? Like, this is what comes, like you said, this is what comes with the supermodel girlfriend. You want that kind of conflict and tension. And I feel like Bron was always kind of trying to push some of that off onto AD, and he didn't necessarily want to take it. He had a quote today that I don't think is going to be super well received in Dallas, where, he did a great thing. He gave up his trade bonus. He had a $6 million trade bonus in his contract he gave up. And he said, quote, trying to help the team. Obviously, you always want to get better. And losing a monumental piece like Luka, it's a lot. So I'm just trying to do my part and help Nico and the organization on how we can continuously get better. Like the guy you're replacing Luka with is like, well, you obviously can't replace Luka.
I mean, I think that's probably what the fans want to hear, honestly, at this point, is that like AD feels their pain and understands like, hey, this was really messed up, but I'm already sacrificing and doing the best I can. My thing with AD that I keep thinking about, he finally threw his weight around for the very first time in his whole 6-year Laker tenure, like weeks ago. He had the sit down with Shams where he was like, on the record, I want to play power forward. I want to get a center. I've asked them for this every year, and every year they've just given me minimum guys at the center position. It took him 6 years to work up the courage to be like, I'm going to finally throw my weight around. I was an MVP candidate at the beginning of the season, and they traded his ass like 2 weeks later. That's so crazy. For me, like as someone who has a hard time asserting myself sometimes, that's my literal worst freaking nightmare, to be like, I finally worked up the strength and courage to be like, I have worth here and I am the best player on this team. And if I've been requesting something for years on end, God damn it, they should do it at some point.
And what he requested is so reasonable. What he requested.
He got it.
Yeah.
In Dallas.
Yeah, he got Derek Lively now.
And Daniel Gafford. There you go.
So true, monkey paw shit. All right, well, Claire, thank you so much for joining us again. You can find Claire on the internet and also at The Guardian, and hopefully on another episode of Jenkins and Jones soon. Claire, thanks for joining us.
Appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Bye. All right. We're saying bye to Claire and we're welcoming in Jackson. Are you on the waiting room? There we go.
Yeah, give me one
Bringing
second.
in. Okay. Vamping. Filling time.
We're vamping.
I'm reading the stage directions. I'm supposed to be actually filling the time.
I'm getting Gallagher all locked in here, and I think we're good to go now.
I'm in an Airbnb, so just trying to figure out lighting, you know?
Dude, hell yeah.
While he's figuring out lighting, we are live. I don't know if you told him that.
Oh, no, he's
Jackson,
all
but
good.
okay.
Are we
Yeah, we
really?
are. We're
It's all
on
good,
YouTube
man.
right now.
We are, yeah.
What's up? We're excited to be joined now. And again, thanks to Claire for hopping on. We're now joined by Jason Gallagher, head of production at 342 Productions. Jason, thanks for joining us. As the biggest Mavs fan in the world, how are you feeling on this day?
Good. You know, I'm contemplating whether or not we're going to make an amendment to biggest Mavs fan in the world and just the Joker of Dallas. But, you know, we're doing okay. No, I've had better days. Joke of an organization, really making me contemplate my fandom, and it's a bizarre feeling because I'm a pretty hardcore Mavs fan. I've spent many years embarrassing myself on behalf of this team, so it sucks.
Well, never more embarrassed than you were on Saturday, February 1st, I'm sure. And I'm sorry because it's so fucking horrible. But I want to ask you off top. I proposed this to Tyler and Claire, and they were not takers. Do you see any credence to a Kobe Bryant sleeper cell inside job thing here between Nico and Rob Pelinka, or do you think he genuinely thinks this is a good move?
So, can I take you on a journey a little bit?
Hell yeah.
Okay. When we like semi, you know, in the know, smart Mavs people heard about this, we were like, there will be more dropping. There will be more coming out, especially from the Luka side. We're going to find out he made some sort of threat, something to make this make a little bit of sense. I do want to.
He pulled a gun in the locker room, something like that. Yeah,
he did that. He did the worst things imaginable, right? And then as Nico Harrison started doing this thing where he opened his mouth in front of a microphone, it was unreal. It became very clear that there wasn't more coming out. It was simply that this man thought this was a good idea. And so I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is just not, he really likes this idea. So then beyond that, I'm kind of sitting there going like, reading these, you know, Kobe, Pelinka sort of things. And I'm going, well, you know, it doesn't make sense, but it makes more sense than the things he's saying.
That's where I'm coming from. Yes.
Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so it's like, it turns you into a crazy conspiracy theorist. But if there was a better alternative that made sense, the only reason why I'm dubious of something like that is just because it takes a lot of people to keep secrets in this league. And it's like the amount of people that would have to keep that secret is pretty insane, but crazier things have happened. I don't know. It makes that little sense. I mean, when was the last time someone was traded and the newsbreaker had to clarify they weren't hacked, and every single NBA player in the world commented on it and was like, what in the world? I mean, they got like Anthony Edwards to be like, what are you doing? Like, that's a really crazy thing to do. So I don't know, man. It's bleak times, and I really, I prided myself on fandom. It's something that I've always talked with players about everything. Like, it's such a crucial piece to this whole pie that I feel like I love, and I'm very passionate about fandom and you know, that the love of sport. And this one really hurt Mavs fans. I really think it's like one of the worst things an organization could do to their own fans.
Yeah. I got a homie who's been my homie since college, who's a lifelong Mavs fan, and you know, we've been texting about it. And he just texted me like out the blue today, like, I just really can't believe it. This is the worst moment of my life as a sports fan, no hyperbole. Like, It's really taking a toll on so many Mavs fans, and I feel like a lot of them are abandoning the Mavs. A lot of them are saying, "Fuck it, I'm following Luka to the Lakers." Like it's just giving up a player like Luka, 25, not even playing the best basketball of his life yet, not even totally hit his peak yet. And to give him up, and it's just like the thing about a guy like Luka, having a player like that is that you always have a chance year in and year out for the next 10, 12, 15 years. And now that's gone. Now y'all are working on a window of a bunch of 30 plus year olds, right? On with 32-year-old Kyrie, 32-year-old AD. And for that to just evaporate like that, bro. Like I just don't know how I'd be able to deal with it. Like I said, if I was a Mavs fan, I'd quit. I've quit my teams for less. So I would have hit the door, bro.
Listen, and you guys know this. There's particular identities with fan bases. There just is. Okay, so if you're a Miami Heat fan, you sort of come to expect that like you buy your players, but we got this top-notch culture and players want to come here. That's like their identity. Whether it's the Buffalo Bills or Boston Celtics, whatever. Every fan base has an identity, and the Mavericks fan base is really founded on this idea through conditioning from the organization itself that you pick a guy and you ride with that guy. And that's just what Mavs fans are used to. I mean, I'm 38 years old, became a Mavs fan when I was pretty young. And it's like, okay, so when I was a child and became a Mavs fan, you're already a little different. You're already like kind of the weirdo in the corner because everyone's a Cowboys fan, but we're Mavs fans. Then this gangly German dude comes and you're kind of like, okay. And you learned through just cheering him on that, oh, I really love cheering on our guy. I love going through the ups and the downs and the disappointments and everything like that. And then it was an immediate handoff to Luka, which felt really fortunate. We felt like we were very lucky because we could continue with that brand of fandom. And so that's why I think it was so stunning was that this isn't Miami. Like when Nico, his first comment was defense wins championships. And that's like, I don't even really know what to say about that. Like that's cheating on your wife and your explanation is like, we're all going to die someday. So who cares? Like, I don't even know, but it's like, we have love here. We care.
I'm just trying to stay in shape. I'm trying to stay in shape.
So
yeah.
I'm just trying to stay in shape. It's finding this like completely different thing that doesn't address the actual point of it all. And I think that misread, it was one of the bigger misreads. And Nico had nobody in his corner to tell him, because it definitely wasn't the ownership group. And it definitely wasn't anybody else that was like, hey, this is a bad idea. Everyone was shocked. Dirk was shocked. Luka was like, everybody's shocked. And so I think that is the piece that they're really missing and why they're going to see this particular fan base really revolt on this one. I really believe it. I'll tell you this right now. I have been on the record. I have no shame in saying it. I'm completely done. I was done before. I was like, I'm going to sleep on it. Then I kept reading new quotes. There was the one quote I put out on Twitter where he essentially said, the reason we didn't want this to leak is because we didn't want our fans to get upset. We didn't want to face backlash. And it's like, so then you knowingly moved forward, knowing that you were going to face this kind of backlash. And that to me means that they betrayed us, and it's not the other way around. And so when I've got a few people in my mentions are like, you're a bandwagon, you're this or you're that. And it's like, whatever. I mean, you want to be this person who sticks with in the relationship that treats you like shit, you knock yourself out. But I got more important. OKC Stadium is 5 minutes that way. I think I'm gonna start going to those games. I'm gonna start barking when Jalen Williams hits a three. It's gonna be fun.
Tyler, do you want to give Jason the pitch? Tyler was a lapsed Washington football team fan because of the ownership, and then came back with Jaden Daniels. Do you want to tell Jason that there's light at the end of the tunnel and it's okay to step away from the abusive relationship?
Oh yeah, for sure. Look, it's going to be an adjustment. There's going to be times you're not going to be able to just straight up cold turkey quit him. You're going to find yourself checking box scores and such. It's going to be similar to a breakup where you might be checking their social media here and there. But look, bro, you will get through it. and it'll be a burden lifted off you. And I'm telling you, bro, I can't fault anyone who quits the Mavs after this. This is an egregious mishandle. Like it was some big brain shit that ripped the heart out of an entire fan base. I just can't abide it, dog.
I can't either. And I really don't blame anybody for any if you want to ride with this team, ride with this team. But I think that a lot of Mavs folks are out, and I just don't even blame them at this point. It's like the Lakers are. Me, Jason Gallagher, will probably cheer for the Lakers at this point. It's like my guy's coaching the team. I've got my other guy is Mind the Game season 2 coming sometime in the future. We got that going. My favorite players on the team, Dorian Finney-Smith, has my heart is on that team. It's hard to
one of us. Make
that transition, dog.
You know what's funny is I used to be one of those curmudgeon-y people that were like, these kids, they'll follow any player anyway. They have no dignity in this world. Like if someone's like, I'm a KD fan, I'm like, God, you don't know. And now it's like, I look at my kid, he's just like, go Lakers. And I'm like, yeah, this is
Lakers.
This is what you did, Mavericks. Like, so many fans are going to do that. So they've I can't even believe that they would even, I can't even I've tried to play out the scenarios in which, okay, he's out of shape, whatever. He's bad at defense, whatever. I'm trying to play out the scenarios. He said he wants to leave in 2 years, whatever. All of them still don't make any sense. There's yet, if you look at this at any angle, there's zero sense in doing it the way that they've done it. And one thing that I've told some who are like, it really isn't in the fans. And I keep coming back to that. It's like, that is something you can control. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I'm with
you cut out for a second. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm with you,
Yeah,
bro.
it said my internet is unstable. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, bro. There's all the excuses that we've seen about, the conditioning, the lack of commitment to defense, whatever have you. That's shit you can work around. This is 25-year-old Luka. This isn't 36-year-old Jimmy Butler, bro. Like you work around that shit with Luka, bro. You make it happen. I'm with you, bro. I just do not understand severing ties for any of those reasons that we've seen listed.
Well, I love Luka's dad coming out and calling Nico Harrison a coward, basically, and was like, if you want a different basketball player than my son, then say that. But he played 100 games for you last year, 40 minutes a fucking game. Don't say it's because he's fat. like come out and say you want Anthony Davis, okay, and own that and move forward with that. But don't come out and say a dude who's 5 years running, who has more first team all NBAs than Steph Curry, is not in shape enough to play basketball at 25 years old, bro. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
And that's what's so funny about the Mavs fan base. I mean, you ask any national writer. I was texting with one Tim Bontemps, who is a true villain in Dallas. Like,
what a flex.
The Dallas fans hate Bontemps. But, he was saying is like, that's a unique passion and love of a fan base to a fan, or to a player, because they've been defending people for the last 5 years, or they're defending him to people for the last 5 years. When someone's like, oh, he's out of shape, oh, he's fat, oh, they lost in Boston because he's out of shape, or he's got an injury because he's fat, and it's like, and every Dallas fan's like on Twitter being like, you dumb motherfuckers, have you seen what he does when he, like, every Mavs fan is on there doing it. So I think that is actually what is so funny. The first words I read from Tim McMahon's report on this was Nico Harrison's explanation. Defense wins championships. It's like, are you literally doing this to a fan base that has been defending that notion for not only him, but also Dirk for the last 20 years? Do you not? This is a fan base that firmly believes that that's not the case. You know what we believe in Dallas? We've been on this train forever. This is why we argue that Dirk is better than KG. This is what we do, because our belief is that what wins championships is generational offensive talent who is your cheat code, and then you backfill the defense deficiencies with the rest of the roster, because you can do that. You know what I mean? That's what we believe. And so this idea defense wins championships, I am just like, you don't know what you're talking about. And I have said some really mean things about Nico Harrison publicly. And I mean all of them. I just want that to be cleared up. I mean them all.
Are you saying that the huge deal today, Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin, is not bringing you back to Nico Harrison's side? That's not moving the needle for you?
The Luka replacement, Caleb
The
Martin.
Luka replacement, Caleb Martin.
Did you guys know that? I did not know that news. You just told me that.
Yeah.
Quentin Grimes on a second round pick.
Let me say this. We've obviously brought up on the podcast that I've known Peyton Watson since he was a little kid. If you switch his defensive skill and offensive rawness and give him the offensive skill and the defensive rawness, it's a 9-figure change in his net worth. Like, defense, you say whatever the fuck you want to say about defense, but if you're raising a basketball player, I would encourage him to be a generational offensive prodigy. If you could pick one of the two, regardless of what Nico Harrison is putting into the atmosphere.
Yeah, and look, I don't really begrudge anyone for believing that defense wins championships. What I'm saying is that this fan base is just uniquely actually anti-defense wins championships. I just find it to be so funny that they did not know that. It is, I mean, ask Jackson. We worked together. I used to just walk into random offices on a Tuesday and just start yelling at people, KG's not better than Dirk.
Absolute true fact. Absolute true fact.
It is a fact. I used to do that, and I used to be like, I mean, yes, if you want to win Twitter arguments, sure. But if you want to win real life basketball games, you want Dirk on your team because he was your cheat code. He was your guy that, first action didn't work, second action didn't work. Let's just dump it to Dirk. And that actually wound up being a really great bailout option because he was that good. So this was our fundamental belief. Again, I'm not actually here to argue that right now. The point is that that's what we believe. And that's what we believe with Luka. And so I don't want to hear about the defensive thing. And by the way, they were a really good defense last year after the trade deadline. So there's this other angle of it where it's like, yeah.
But it's like going to the grocery store and saying, like, we're not buying steak today because steak doesn't clean clothes, right? Like, they have nothing to do with each other. Like that, like that's not like Luka's not there to be the defensive centerpiece. Like, you buy laundry detergent to wash the clothes, and then you get steak to have for dinner. They're separate categories with separate requirements and very separate budgets.
Exactly.
It's also one thing to do this like on a year.
Exactly. Except for
Go ahead, yeah.
What's that?
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say in that analogy, I'm Mr. like, yeah, we need a washer dryer, so we're gonna actually give away our house. It's like, no. Right. Now you just have a washer and dryer. What are you doing? Like, it just sucks, man.
And to do it coming off a year where they made it to the finals, it's like, even if you want to point to say he's more out of shape than you want or he's heavier than you want, it doesn't even matter. The production is the production. The wins are the wins. They just made it to the NBA finals with the exact player that they were complaining about.
And you, Jackson, you're a Boston fan. You watched the series very closely.
Very closely.
Was Luka in the top 10 reasons why Dallas lost that series? No. And now they're like, Kyrie's our offensive engine. I'm sorry. Did we not watch the NBA Finals last year? Because that did not work, especially when you have to like load up on him.
Right, and now it's all him now.
Now it's all him. He's the engine. I've seen what it is, and God bless him because he like puts it all out there. That's not the question. But he's getting older, and he's getting, dare I say it, a little easier to scheme against, is all I'm saying.
I mean, we've never seen Kyrie Irving as a primary option do well in the playoffs, ever. Nope. He's maybe the best second option offensively in the entire NBA, but we've never seen him have playoff success as a lead option, not a single time.
No, and this is no shots at him, like really.
Shots at him.
But it's this is what to get back to your sort of first question about conspiracy theories, talking all of this out only makes you go, well, I don't fucking know. Maybe Nico is actually employed by the Lakers. I do not. It makes a lot more sense if that were the case.
It would. It's an easier, right? And that's my point. The conspiracy theory is not usually the Occam's razor explanation, and in this case, it may be. Here's my question for Tyler and for Jason: did Rob Pelinka take such advantage of his friend that he has to be considered like a bad guy? And Jason, I don't know if it was you or another Mavs fan I follow who tweeted, but this guy's allegedly one of your best friends, and successfully convinces you, don't tell anyone else in the world about this, not one other person, because it would be a violation of trust, and we have to have a really high level of trust to pull off this great move for you. So don't even tell your wife, bro. Don't tell anybody that we're doing this. And then he shows up to the press conference in a brown leather jacket to cross his legs and be like, well, obviously, if you could get Luka, I mean.
And he started it by saying, and I just want to thank Nico Harrison for his professionalism. Yeah. He did a great job keeping this trust tree connected.
No, that shit, when he said, don't tell anyone, that shit killed me. And also, during the presser today, he was like, well, I don't look at it as who won the trade. I just want to thank Nico for, collaborating with me on this so we can achieve success. I was like, this motherfucker.
He said collaborate with me so we could get Luka to Dallas, were the words that he used.
Dog.
It's crazy. And I'll say this, man, to answer your question, I'm not sure any person who ends the sentence with, so this information can't leave this room. Usually those people are not good people.
Yeah.
Most of those scenarios involve some pretty fucked up things. And this was one of those things. I will say this. I didn't have the best opinion of Rob Pelinka before, but I'll say this. He might be a bad guy. He has my utter respect because one of my favorite things, it was a YouTube comment someone made where they kind of just laid it out and they were like, this is the most realistic thing I think happened. And I read it and I was like, I love this. And it was basically, it comes up at a breakfast or lunch or wherever these two hang out and
brunch.
Nico floats it to him and brunch and Nico floats it to him and he says, I got this idea about Luka, and Rob is like, this sounds interesting. What would it take? And they start throwing stuff out. And I'm willing to bet that actually a lot more was on the table at the beginning, right? Because that's what people with normal brains would say. So then they're like, but this can't get out. And that quote, this can't get out, was actually the leverage that Rob needed to eventually squeeze this man's head. And that's the theory that I love the most, is that really randomly, after they were flirty-talky for a little bit, really randomly, on a Saturday evening, Rob said, this is your package, or this is getting out there, and you're going to get fired before any of this happens. Because if it leaks that you're shopping Luka to the Lakers, you're fucking done. You're done. And they're going to see the feedback from the fan base.
Because they hate the Lakers. You know how they hate the Lakers. Not because it's a bad move, but because, they don't want to help the Lakers. Yeah.
But it's really one of those things where they think that he just cornered him and squeezed him, and that his ultimate leverage was just simply the leak. His leverage was, I will leak this to Shams and you'll be done. So you have to say yes tonight.
The last time I told someone I have a deal for you and you can't tell anyone about it, I was 7 years old, convincing my little brother, I'm going to give you 5 pennies and all you have to give me in return is your one $10 bill. So you get 5 and I get 1, but you can't tell mom because she will not understand. And of course he told my mom and she was not. Nico did not have the mom in this scenario to bail him out. You know what's
sad is It sounds like Nico would take that deal today.
Yeah.
Pennies
He
win
would
championships.
absolutely jump.
Pennies
win
win championships.
He would jump right. So stupid. God.
How old's your kid, Jason?
How is he?
How
He
old is your kid?
Oh, sorry. He's 11 years old, and he has basically turned into the guy with the Lakers necklace who's like, Lakers. You've seen that GIF? That's my child now. He's just that guy. He's just walking around. He has a LeBron jersey. He wore it to dinner that night. I mean, he is so out on the Mavs. You know, it's a bummer. We got seats right behind the Mavs bench at the Thunder Mavs game a week prior. And like all the coaches high-fiving Isaac, Kyrie came over, high-fived Isaac. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. And 1 week later, he's like, fuck these motherfuckers, I'm out.
He really talks like that too.
I believe that.
Smart kid, man.
Yeah,
Hypothetical. What if the unimaginable happens and Dallas actually wins a championship this season? Where would you be at with things then?
Okay, here's where I'm at. I don't think I would care, and I think most fans I probably wouldn't feel that way, but I think an alarming amount would. You know what I mean? That's like it's like I even if it's 20% or like nah, I think that's the case. And the thing that I really believe is that if you were to go to the average Mavericks fan right now and say you can guarantee a championship this year if you trade Luka and you do it with Anthony Davis and Max Christie, okay? If you can guarantee that, or you can roll the dice with Luka for the next decade with no guarantees of a championship, but maybe, I don't know. I would be willing to bet the vast majority would say we're rolling the dice. We're rolling the dice because that's the kind of fan base it is. So it will feel a little weird. It feel a little empty. I'm sure some fans would enjoy it. I don't think I would. Tim Legler said on his podcast, and I really agreed with this, which was this whole trade can't even be properly evaluated for another decade. He was like, he went as far as to say, even if the Mavs won the title this year, it still would not allow us to evaluate this trade. It is going to be a decade because we need to see what Luka is and becomes still. And I really think that I think it's just as possible that, you know, Dallas wins the championship this year and then Luka three-peats in 4 years. And it's like, well, you wish, you know. So I don't think the championship moves me that much. And again, it's more about how you treat a fan base.
Well, then the reason I ask you about your son is that was my first thought. I have a son who's 11 and is a huge basketball fan and literally was on our podcast on Sunday in his LeBron jersey as the Lakers kid who's like Lakers. And that was my first thought when we got Luka. Was like, oh, holy shit, Vinny's going to be graduating college when this dude is 35, right? Like on the Lakers. And I think especially when you have kids, that's like, at least for me, that's why we got into the Dodgers. They acquired Mookie Betts. I'm looking at my son going, oh, this will be your entire childhood. Like, yeah. Cool, bro. Like, let's start watching these games together. And I think that's why to a casual fan, it might sound crazy for you to say a championship would not move you. But because like right now, the Lakers have one championship with the LeBron era. But it's not, to me, it's not even about the championship. It's about any random night I could save up enough money to take my kid to a Lakers game. LeBron's playing. You know what I mean? Or Luka's playing for the next 10 years. It's about that relevance and the daily experience of being a fan of a team that's got one of those couple guys. That's what they're robbing from their fans. And that's what, like, Nico, it's hard to believe someone could be so big brained that they would not understand that component of fandom, is that like the person means something to the fans, and the future with the person means something to the fans too. And that's what he traded away. And that's why, like you said, no one gives a fuck about your 3-year window with it. Like, that's just not what it's about. You know, you can't say that stuff out loud to fans.
And I think a really real thing is that they were definitely over his bullshit. Like I think I've spoken to enough people. It's been reported by Stein and Tim McMahon. I think that's very real. That And that by they, I mean like a very small circle of people were kind of annoyed. You know, he demanded that weird Slovenian techno music play during shoot around. He had some bullshit attached to him, right? And I was texting with Tim McMahon last night, and we were like, Tim, you work in this industry. How many how many superstars are easy? And it's like Steph, and then maybe back then Dirk. Like you didn't have a lot of like just low maintenance. I mean I don't know anything about Boston, so this wasn't a shot at anything or anyone else. But by and large, you got a superstar. You put up with the bullshit for a reason, because they're a superstar. It's just a reality of the league. And if it's really as if I like actually think that was also a part of it, is that Nico was like, I'm annoyed by him, and I just am like,
so awesome.
My God,
That's so awesome, dude.
It's so crazy. It's just crazy, and it's man, I'm really tore up about this. I was on Bourbon. I'm in New Orleans right now. I was on Bourbon Street last night, and a massive dude started yelling my name, Jason Gallagher, Jason Gallagher. I'm like, what? Hi. He's like, Marshall Newhouse. I'm a football player.
Yeah,
played for the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And he was like, I follow you on Twitter. They fucked us, you know. And I was like, oh my God. He was yelling at me. He was so mad about the Luka thing, but I thought I like owed him money or something. I was like, what happened? But it was great. It was, I mean, that's how fans feel. It's like, it's just so brutal, man. I had people, man, I'm telling you, it's up there in like top 3 days. I got texts from people, like everybody, people that had no idea what basketball was, but they knew that about me. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, that's how many people, like Uncle Bob texted me, and my friend Annie, who's like a theater teacher, texted me. It's like people that don't know anything about basketball were just like, we're so sorry. You know, somebody sent me flowers. No lie. Somebody sent me flowers.
Okay, what was describe the arrangement, please? What flowers do you get when your superstar gets traded away?
I don't want to put this person on blast, but
okay.
But he definitely it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best bouquet, but it was that, and then a bottle of melatonin, and then with a note that just said, "Welcome to the Lake Show."
Oh man, damn, bro! Tyler, I gotta step my trolling game up, bro. I thought I'd been obnoxious on this podcast, so I guess not.
Let me pull back the curtain really fast as well on about how this trade happened. Is the Saturday night notification comes out, and 1 second later,
wow.
I immediately call Jason Gallagher, and it's late in the evening, and he's in Texas or Oklahoma. So his reaction, because he had not having seen the notification yet, is, "What the fuck are you calling me for?" And I was like, "What the fuck? What the fuck are you not calling? What do you mean?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "Okay, let me tell you this right now."
Okay, hold on. Yeah. We need this story. I didn't know you broke the news to Jason.
My one regret is not being like, "Hey, is your wife there? Can she film you right now?" Like that's what I should have done. But I called him. He goes, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" Thinking he was saying "what the fuck" about the trade. And then he was like, "No, but like, why are you calling me?"
Yeah, that goes to show what kind of person I am. He called me, and I was like, "What the fuck? You don't call me on a Saturday. What is this?" I was just like, "What is this?" And then I
read the trade details, and he goes, "No way." Then I read it again, and he goes, "I gotta go."
It's true. It's
so funny.
Oh man. God. Well, gentlemen, how much programming do we have to fill here?
We're all good. No, we're all good. Jason,
I triple booked this day, and I've got people texting me. Are you coming?
Jason, we appreciate you for hopping on and sharing your misery, and we wish you the best of luck going forward, brother. Thanks.
Fells, thanks for hearing me out and just letting me just vent for a little bit.
Yeah, man. We're here if you need us.
Thank you. See you guys.
See you, bro. That's so sad.
Oh man,
I will quit those motherfuckers, dog, and I wouldn't look back. Seriously, I'd be done.
It's crazy. Do you believe him? Jackson, you obviously know him better than we do. You guys believe him when he says if they win a championship this year, he won't care?
I can see how it's not the same though. I can
Yeah.
absolutely see how it wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. It's like someone who dumped you doing something nice for you, and you're like, you already killed that part of me. Like, oh man. All right. Well, that's all the time we got. We'll be back on Thursday, and we will see everybody then. Bye.
Bye.
I